Have to like change any of the marketing or like advertising or anything like to appeal to the Japanese audience?
No, I think we started with all the currently existing key art and marketing materials, and they simply localized the language that surrounded it.
Yeah.
And then after that, we connected them with some of our other contract artists who have been helping develop concept art for the show itself, and that's how we got some people like Ainli and Loa and Kuma have also been generating art for them. And so these are people that also do product and key art for us also.
Yeah, and they reached out to some people in their community, and that's how we got like that first the book that they did that had like all the fan illustrations in it as well. But we definitely didn't have to like change anything. Like I guess it already looked, it felt anime enough that they were like, no, this is good. We'll just keep doing this. Yeah.
I do love seeing the comparisons in the way that they do market. They they released the trailer for the newest episodes in Japan, and just the way that they edited the narrative trailer together is awesome. Yeah. It felt like a theatrical release, honestly.
Yeah.
We see they grow massive in Japan. Where else?
That's a good question. I feel like Japan is like the pinnacle. If we can please Japan with a show like this, then we're set. That's hard.
I mean, we've seen it grow all over the place. I mean, we were in Germany last year where RWBY is a thing, and we're here in London and it's huge. There's so many fans and cosplayers and everything like that. And I think pretty much any country that speaks English, I think it's big.
That's a big thing. A dub is what a lot of people are wanting. Like a lot of South Americans fans have been tweeting us like, when is a Spanish dub or a Portuguese
exactly.
dub?
That's the thing, is that we want to say hello to all the different pocket communities around the world. We really, really do, but there's only so many of us, and we only have so many resources.
Yeah.
So
Japan worked out because they reached out to us and said,
exactly.
Like
we'll do this for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like,
God
yes,
reached
please.
his hand down.
Exactly.
and that's off to the races. There's all these other communities that we love, but we feel bad because we feel like we're underserving them right now. But over time, so we're starting to say hello to like the German community. Latin America is a big community that we want to say hello to. And in the meantime, what's awesome is the fans are keeping it alive. Yeah. So they're still doing all the fan art and the cosplay and whatnot, and they're doing all their own fan subs and dubs. Which because RoosterTeeth was started as a fan community kind of company, we want to let them kind of do their own thing for a little bit until we can get there and actually do the official version of it. Yeah. But in the meantime, it's inspiring to see everybody supporting it like that.
Do you see other cartoons, so let's say Camp Camp, do we think that's going to explode in other markets?
God, I hope so.
Maybe.
I would love to see Camp Camp dub in Japanese.
Also not entirely sure how Dolph would translate to German.
Oh, God.
But apparently they loved it. We're kind of paranoid about showing that because we're not. That's such an edgy bit of humor that we didn't think we were going to show it. But there's a lot of Camp Camp fans over there in Germany.
Miles and Patrick Rodriguez went like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, and Takenichi this year, and we didn't show anything Dolph related because we were like, maybe we shouldn't. And they said like people were coming up to him like, oh no, we love Dolph. And
Really?
Okay.
Do they know?
As long as everybody's cool, we're cool. Okay, everybody's cool. Awesome.
Hey, if I'm cool with it, they'll be cool with it.
If anything, we were talking about how we'd like to see Camp Camp ported to something like Adult Swim. Seems like it'd be appropriate there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Volume 4, you dealt with a lot more serious tones. How was that as voice actors and creators? How was that writing it? How was it acting it?
Well, we let Barb keep her arm.
Like in real life, thank goodness.
Good thing she's not method.
Very kind of me. I know. I'm just in there with a saw.
Like wrong arm, like halfway.
It's definitely a 180 in terms of voice acting, because Yang, from volumes 1 to 3, most of 3, she is extremely upbeat, positive, and happy, and very, carefree. And then everything that happens at the end of Volume 3 kind of changes her personality and kind of shifts who she is as a character. And so voice acting wise, I had to completely try to put myself into that kind of situation. And I've luckily never experienced PTSD or anything really terribly dramatic in that kind of sense. So it was challenging, but I think challenging in a really good way, where I felt like I got to like flex my skills a little bit.
It's been neat seeing enough people come up to Barb and talk about how perhaps that audience member did go through something that they had to find a lot of strength and cope with. And they're fighting a lot through what's going on with the character performance and the animation, what Barb's been doing on the vocal performance. That kind of it's nice for them to relate to something in a more positive manner like that.
That's like the best compliment I could ask for, is like being able to help anyone through, or like having someone that they could look up to and relate to, and see them go through something that they've gone through and be able to relate to that character. So it's been a huge honor to be able to portray that.
Yeah. And it's very rewarding as an actor to be able to do or have some kind of a character depth and a shift in their tone. And that happened with RWBY. Granted, Yang was kind of an immediate shift, a complete 180. RWBY, at the end of Volume 3, we have a scene together, and I thought that was the great moment of like kind of a loss and kind of a little bit of a physical and emotional shrink in her, I guess. And then she built herself back up. But I'm excited to explore the fact that she's kind of internalized a lot of her emotions because she has to move forward for the rest of her team, and she specifically says that like it's not about me anymore. I'm trying to help everybody else out. So I'd be interested to see how she deals with that whenever she finally, if she does, break.
Yeah.
Where do you see this to be an ongoing trend for RWBY to be in like multiple different gaming franchises or other franchises as a guest character?
Yeah, we
Sure,
hope so, yeah.
it's already happened once. There was the mobile game, King's Quest, Crusader's Quest, Crusader's Quest. So like they've already appeared as downloadable characters in that mobile game for a while, and there are other discussions to be had.
Yeah.
But don't be surprised if there's more news on that.
I would love to
in the
see
future.
Yang in Smash Brothers.
Good on
So
him.
high. Yeah, I'm aiming very high.
We talked about like a Ruby and Soul Calibur too.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Everyone also needs to go bug Arc Systems Works. They were joking in the animation department panel this morning about they were asking the audience if they needed to do a JRPG
Yes.
for the world of
We do.
RWBY, and
Our answer is yes.
yeah, and now that they've brought the idea, they don't get to back away from
Let's
it.
do an MMO. Let's get the whole world.
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Get everybody in
First-person
here.
shooter, why not?
Yeah.
Actually, when I spoke to Mori-san earlier, he said that you guys took some of the ideas from the game back into the anime.
Yeah.
So what ones were they?
There's been some things that, so essentially they will send us the moves that they put into the game to approve, which of course we're gonna like. Everything they do is amazing.
Yeah.
What he was probably referencing was we had an animator was working on a Yang fight scene, and was just struggling a little bit, or just kind of trying to get into the groove. And I showed him some of the animations that Arc Systems Work had sent over, and he immediately was like super motivated, and like it's just been really cool to work with them, and like the stuff that they're doing is like incredible.
Yeah, it's been very, very inspiring to say the least. I think it's not the case yet that any of the new moves or combos that they've devised have made it in the show quite.
No,
but,
no.
But we've talked about
like,
that might happen, but
And it's not even like a 1-to-1. Like I think I was showing him some like RWBY stuff, and it was just seeing their animation on like one of our characters was just like crazy.
yeah.
And here's a question for Barbara and Lindsay. Did you ever go into like mocap and just like try to get more into the character at all?
Yeah, I had said in an interview this weekend that I hadn't done mocap before, but I totally forgot. I actually did get to do a scene at the beginning of Volume 3
It was 3, I
for the
think, yeah.
tournament. Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of mocap for Yang. It's it's usually just kind of like the mundane actions that you think of, like obviously never the fighting sequences because I do not move that way.
I wish, yeah.
And then I've also gotten to do mocap for like winter as well. I did some
yeah.
winter mocap, which was very challenging because I have really bad posture, and winter is very proper. So I had a sore back after because I was standing up so straight for so long. But that's always fun, and you never realize as a voice actor, it's like kind of like complete opposite to voice acting, where voice acting you're only concentrating on what you sound like and conveying emotion with your voice, whereas mocap it's complete opposite. It's just everything is
Gestures,
extreme
yeah.
with your body. It doesn't matter what your face looks like or what your expression is. So it's funny to do both sides of it.
Yeah, if anything, it's taught me a respect for the blending of the two mediums. In a lot of video games now, you actually get to do motion capture along with recording your voice. So, like actors like Laura Bailey, Travis Willingham, Troy Baker, it's like that's awesome that they can do all of the above.
Lindsay, with the voice acting you were doing for the games, for Blaze Blue, how did you find it for the series?
Well, again, if anything, it's made me have an even greater respect for people who do video game voice acting. Exactly. Because for the show, I mean, obviously we'll do things that are called like a 3-pass for lines, so you say it 3 different times with different inflections. But for video games, I mean, you really have to consider that the person controlling your character is given a variance of options. So, I mean, you would have like an attack, and Kerry's like, okay, now do it 6 different ways, and now let's do it again, and let's do it again. And I was like, man, this is really taxing, but it's exciting to be involved in something that I've never done before.
Yeah, we have an action effort sound library that we build for each of the main characters for the show, but what you guys did was even more intense.
It was very intense. Yeah.
I will say, like, one of the best things about it is I've been a video game and anime nerd for some time, and I thought it'd be so cool to have like the anime attack where it's like you say the name of your attack really, really loud and really long, and I got to do that multiple times in the game. It was awesome.
I got to do that in Fairy Tale a little bit for Cosmos, and that was
really?
like
What was your attack? Do you remember?
It's like something about flowers.
Like petal dance or
Death
something.
Blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And I just remember thinking it was so like cheesy, but so like anime, and I loved it.
And you know they're gonna amplify and have
Yeah.
the echo and the sound effects and everything. Yeah.
What advice do each of you have for like aspiring content creators?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start, and then rule number 2 is finish.
Yeah.
And then part 3 is put it out somehow so other
Yeah.
people can see it.
Part 4 is repeat.
Yes,
over and over
and
again.
then see step 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned this in a panel earlier today, but don't be afraid of failure. I think a lot of people will try to create something and then it either doesn't go anywhere, or they're not proud of it, or people don't like it, and then they kind of get torn down and don't want to try again. And I think you could learn so much from your failures and from the mistakes you make to do better next time. And I think a lot of people get discouraged. And
Like, it's okay to make mistakes. Is how you learn. Right?
Exactly.
Like, if you're supposed to make mistakes. That's the whole point.
Well, you only hear the success stories. You never hear
Yeah.
about the multiple times that someone has failed
Yeah.
before achieving what they wanted to.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great philosophy to try to get all of your failures out of the way as much and as quickly as possible, and then that way you're learning your craft better, and then you can really free up and do more interesting things from there. It's with so many artists, with so many content creators, they seem to be their own worst critics or their own worst self-editors, because it's not perfect the instant they get it out of their head and into whatever the medium is that they work in. And you have to do drafts and whatever it is. Are you an artist? Well, you have to do multiple sketches. Are you a writer? That's why they call it a rough draft. You know, you just have to keep doing it over and over.
Yeah, and as far as like advice for voice acting goes, you want to get technical. There are fantastic demos online, like Yuri Lowenthal and his lovely wife Tara Platter, both in RWBY. They do a great tutorial on how to establish a demo reel and just kind of go through the basics of what casting directors look for in auditions, how you can channel certain voices, or how you can emulate characters that already exist, but kind of manipulate them to make them your own. It's very helpful.
Is there any particular challenges that like had you close to giving up?
Absolutely.
It still
Like,
happens.
I know for me, when RWBY first started, it was my first time ever voice acting in anything. And we were still learning the characters and how to make the show and everything like that. And so I got a lot of criticism for my voice acting, and that I wasn't good and that people couldn't get into it. And it was obviously very hurtful to hear as someone who like is really excited about a project and all of a sudden you get torn down. But I also realized that I was new at it. So I feel like I've gotten better over time, and I feel like the audience has gotten more used to hearing my voice in a character that is not me as well.
Absolutely.
No, it's the same way with production. I mean, just like how the look of the show has evolved year after year. It's it's occasionally a little difficult for us to go back and watch, first, second volume or so. But in the same way, at some point you just have to embrace the fact that no, this is a time capsule of what we were capable of doing at the time. We know how and why it turned out the way that it did. We know that we want to do better. You can either give up or you can keep on and making the next one.
And I'm sure Barbara's on the same page, but now we get to act along with voice actors like Vinyanya. I'm like, dude, I've been watching you since I was 12.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little intimidating, but yeah.
We call them real voice actors.
Basically, we're like, I'm talking, and now you go.
Yeah.
Make the scene better.
What has been like your favorite fan interaction?
I don't think favorite exists. I think it's just every time we get to interact with our audience, it's so surreal and so wonderful. I know for me, every time we do an RTX, especially the RWBY panels we do, and to see the passion and the love that everyone has for the show, it's like, wow, you guys love what we make so much that you're here cosplaying or doing fan art or traveling from across the world to come see us. And that
It's really inspiring, and it
Super
helps
humbling.
motivate us like throughout the rest of the years, like as we're working on the shows and we're pulling late nights and all these kinds of things. Like we, or at least I know, and a lot of the crew does too. Like we look back to RTX and go like, no, this is worth it. Like this is like
it's not
a
view
driving
counts.
force.
It's not
No.
view counts, and it's not necessarily the comments and the whatnot. It's the live in person interaction, like the fantastic phenomenon for me of conventions in general and the RTXs in particular is that I'm suddenly getting to hang out for a weekend with all these other friends that I didn't know that I had.
Yeah.
Where we're all very similarly minded, and we all like the same stuff, and I feel like these are the best friends that you just hadn't seen in a long time, but you just have to sync up real quick and talk about, well, what have you been up to and what have you been watching and reading lately and whatnot, and then suddenly everything is great talking to them. I mean, it's not. I don't have a particularly singular favorite fan interaction, but it's the different types of interaction. It's either seeing all the positive creativity, like you guys were describing a second ago, or it's also the people that it's not like we do this intending to have this effect, but while we're sorry if there's an audience member who's been having a difficult time in life, if the universe has thrown them some challenge, but watching things that RoosterTeeth makes somehow either distracts them from it or gives them the strength to make it through whatever it is, then I mean,
We're happy to be there for them.
yeah, to know that we were able to help in some ways is amazing.
Yeah, we never get sick of hearing stories like that, and it's unfortunate that people go through a hard time, but to be able to be any help in anyone's life, it's like even if we just help one person, it makes it all worth it. And the fact that we're affecting so many people across the world is like extremely humbling.
One specific story that sticks out to me, and you're absolutely right, all the interactions are amazing, but one that I'll never forget, Barbara was just talking about a couple of fans who said I have PTSD, and I appreciate that I can relate to Yang. There was a girl at RTX in Austin last year who came up, she was dressed as Pyrrha, and she was very, very happy, elated to be there, and I said, oh, you look amazing, it's great, and she was like, well, Jen Brown and the character of Pyrrha are really inspirational to me because I have terminal cancer and I have 3 months to live. And she wasn't sad about it, she was actually very, very happy and excited that she had something to connect with. I was like, wow, like, what do you say to that? Like, thank you.
Yeah, we had a charming young lady who was at the RWBY panel here at RTX London yesterday, who she happens to have multiple personality disorder, and I don't know if it ever occurred to any of us that we've got a character named Klein in the show that also has multiple personalities, and but she just wanted to say hello and thanks because it was the first time that she had seen someone with MPD that was a positive supporting character or force in the story, and not a villain.
Yeah.
And
it was just like, you know, we set out to just do something that was like, oh, it's all 7 dwarves in one, haha. Yeah, it's cool, but it's like the fact that something like that can affect somebody so deeply is amazing, and it's just like, yeah, it never gets old or loses any value to it. It's like it's always incredible.
With the tragic passing of Monty, how hard was it? What were the challenges you faced with basically picking up where he left off or following his vision?
It was not easy.
it's
I'm still working on it.
It's still kind of ongoing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that any of us are ever going to be like okay, you know.
Just different.
Just different, yeah.
Which is something that I think a lot of the audience gets. There's a vocal minority that I think still, you know, has some questions or doesn't, but it's to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before in other like behind the scenes stuff interviews too. It's like the show is not going to be exactly the same as if he was still around because he's not around.
We can't replace him.
Yeah,
that's not possible.
Yeah,
of course, the show is going to be different than if he were still here contributing to it. And what we try to communicate though is that there is still so much about it that has remained constant since we lost him. That you know, there's a whole crew that makes the show, and a lot of the animators that have been there from the very beginning are still in the crew, and that, you know, Miles and Kerry wrote every single script ever since the very beginning, and you know, the story breakdown that you guys put together with Monty, that's still the playbook for, you know, how the major beats of the story proceed, and you know, the animators still study all of his animation, whether it's, you know, RWBY or Halo or Dead Fantasy or any of it, and you know, they're still trying to you know, learn from him, even in a more passive fashion, I guess.
Yeah, I appreciate that the fans have given me some time to kind of ramp into this, so to speak, because I mean, like, I was not prepared to do this at all. So the fact that everybody's been, you know, nice and understanding, like, you know, like it takes a couple seasons to kind of start to figure this stuff out, but
the animation department moved into a brand new studio not quite a year ago, and when we did it, we rebuilt our motion capture performance stage, and we went ahead and dedicated that performance space to Monty. So now we've got there's when the animators, we keep the motion capture as was kind of the tradition with, you know, Monty had his desk and his computer and all of his Matrix operator bank of monitors right there, and right behind him was the motion capture field. So, you know, he could be working inside the software tool and then realize, I need another couple of moves. Throw on the suit if he wasn't already living out of it already.
Probably in the suit already.
Hop in the field, capture a couple of moves, get back to his computer, keep going. So we wanted to maintain that tradition for all of our animators. So we've got a row now. I mean, like, the team is rather large now. We've got between 20 to 25 3D animators working on RWBY at a given point. But all of them surround our motion capture stage. So we have organized shoots that we kind of treat like small live action shoots, but it's also possible if an animator wants to, they can just throw on the suit, go in there, and just record the things that they need. And they as you go down the stairs into the motion capture field from where their desks are up top, we've got Monty's motion capture suit that we've preserved, and one of our favorite quotes from him right there. So if people can take a moment and sort of just commune with the spirit for just a minute and see what you get out of it, whether it's energy or focus or just the desire to up your game just a little bit more when you go in and do your next character performance. Again, he's still with us in a way.
Do you know like volume 20 is going to be the last volume, or is it still ongoing? Don't know where it's going to.
We definitely have like an end for this like main story. We're trying to keep it open because every year we kind of like reevaluate where we are on this roadmap and kind of like how much we want to bite off that year, or other things that we've thought of since then that we kind of want to add to that. So we don't have like a firm number of exactly how many it is. Our current guess is like 10 to 12 or so.
Yeah, I think we're not quite halfway through it, Bruno.
Yeah, we're not quite halfway through yet. But
that's just the story of Team RWBY specifically.
Yeah, and just this story of Team RWBY specifically. I mean, like the cool thing is between everybody who's worked on the show, we've created this world now that I think we could tell stories in forever. I mean, like, and we're happy to, and we're happy to work with other people that do as well. I mean, like, spin-offs and side stories and OVAs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think anything is on the table as long as people keep watching.
In Volume 5, I noticed in the first episode was really awesome visuals. Are there any new technologies, or is it just more using Maya?
It's honestly, it's just more of refining things. I think Maya is part of it for sure. Just like most of the people that you hire in the industry are more familiar with Maya. So I mean, like, rebuilding our libraries and re-importing like old libraries has been helpful for us. I think the biggest thing about the visual difference is we animate in Maya, but then we render out we render the backgrounds in Maya. We render the characters in 3ds Max and a plugin called Pencil. And that's what gives it like kind of the toon shaded look and the lines and all of that. And I think that's probably the biggest visual difference between 4 and 5. It's just we learned how to use it a lot better. It was really like the first time. It's a piece of Japanese software developed over there. A lot of studios over there use it. Most of the manuals are in Japanese. Most of the online tutorials are in Japanese. Like it was not incredibly easy for us to pick up. And in fact, when we showed the RWBY character short at RTX, that was actually a completely different version of it, where we had tried to replicate what Pencil did in Maya. Wasn't really super happy with the results, so we figured out how to do it to get it over to Max and do it in Pencil. And that was essentially our learning process, and we could just kind of go from there to get the season done. So, I think the biggest visual difference between 4 and 5 is just us having a year of using the software under our belt and understanding what makes it look better, and the way we're lighting characters are different now. Pretty much every single character got it passed under their model to make the line show up better, because the smallest thing, like in Volume 4, all of the like the edges of like a t-shirt, for example, like Sun's shirt, it was modeled like this, so it had an edge to it, it had thickness to it. We went into every single model and took all of that out, so it would stop drawing double lines, instead it would just draw one line, because if you're drawing it by hand, you wouldn't draw both sides of the cloth, you would just draw one line. So I think that's one of the things that's made the season look a little bit cleaner, is like we went into everything and just touched it up a little bit now that we had a better understanding of the software.
I would say, a lot of it was technical refinement. The crew did an amazing job just in the transition from 3 to 4 and moving the pipeline technology over to Maya in general. And then, like Kerry's been describing it, then a lot of it's been the refinement since then. But as part of that refinement, it's also aesthetic in terms of Kerry working closely with the visual post team and our lighters, our renderers, our compositors and whatnot, and establish and texture and modeling and whatnot, and establishing another set of aesthetic guidelines, saying, so we know that the tech can do the following features, but let's go ahead and kind of limit our usage of them to just this type of application, to again come up with something that's even more pleasing.
Yeah, it changes on a per shot basis of like whether or not they cast shadows onto themselves or stuff like that. Just because it took a couple episodes, and now it's at the point where we don't have to really like change stuff often. Like the lighters just kind of like know what to do.
So it's establishing a visual vocabulary on top of the tech.
Yeah.